The African savannah is a stage so vast, it challenges every human notion of greatness. It stretches across more than 5 million square kilometers, crossing borders, climates, rivers, deserts and seasons that shape not only the landscape, but every creature that dares to live here. On one horizon, the savannah can look like a sea of gold beneath a scorching sun. On another, it reveals itself flooded by rains that turn cracked ground into a living mirror. It is a land of extremes, where time can be an ally or an enemy. And while these landscapes shift like pages torn by the wind, a silent army of survivors stays on alert. There are giants who dominate the land through strength and memory. Small guardians who rely on unity to stay alive. Tireless athletes who cross valleys and plains in search of water. And being so attentive, they can sense danger before the wind even changes direction. This is the savannah, brutal Africa. A world where fire, water, dust and life collide in an eternal cycle. A territory that rewards the ingenious and punishes the careless. And it is within this colossal setting that we will discover how these animals, each in their own way, learned to survive on the edge of existence, overcoming challenges that shaped the wildest continent on the planet. The journey begins now. In brutal Africa, where drought can turn rivers into dust, and the distance between life and death can be nothing more than a lack of water. The elephant becomes more than a resident. It becomes a guardian of ancient paths. These giants carry in their memories routes traveled for generations. Hidden trails that lead to the last pools, forgotten wells, and patches of shade that endure the dry season. The memory of a matriarch can mean survival for the entire herd. With up to 6 tons of power, elephants shape the landscape in order to survive. They topple trees to reach food others could never access. They open clearings that become corridors used by hundreds of other species. They dig deep into hardened earth with their tusks, revealing water that will sustain far more than just their own herd. And even with such colossal strength, they do not survive alone. Unity is their greatest weapon. In an environment where predators roam silently, every member of the herd plays a role. The females protect the calves in the center, while the elders set the pace of the journey. Communication, made through deep low sounds that travel for kilometers through the ground, keeps everyone connected, even when dust rises and visibility disappears. Elephants endure heat, drought, conflict, and distance because they were built for it. A massive body to conserve water, wide ears to release heat, intelligence to solve problems, and a society that turns many into one. And from that blend of strength, memory, and strategy, the essence of survival in the savannah is born. But giants are not the only ingenious minds in this territory. In the African savannah, even creatures made of pure power must share space with beings that bet on agility, sharp hearing, and the ability to anticipate threats before they even appear. And among these silent survivors, one of them moves like a living fortress, the rhinoceros. The rhinoceros appears in the savannah as a living paradox. At once, a wall of tons and a vulnerable creature in a world full of challenges. It does not depend on the cunning of predators, nor on the speed of antelopes. The rhinoceros survives through a unique combination of strength, sensitivity, and adaptation to its environment. And like every great survivor of brutal Africa, it learned how to turn limitations into strategy. With weak eyesight and a body that looks carved from stone, the rhinoceros compensates for its flaws with incredibly sharp senses. It sees little, but it hears everything. Its ears rotate like small antennas, catching vibrations in the ground, and distant sounds other animals don't even register. That is how it detects suspicious approaches, movement in tall grass, and even shifts in weather before they become visible. Despite weighing more than 2 tons, every step is calculated. The rhinoceros knows its territory like few others. Muddy trails, clearings it opened itself, dusty patches it uses to protect against parasites, and strategic points where the wind reveals the presence of intruders. And in this natural engineering of survival, mud becomes armor. It coats its skin in thick layers of clay to prevent sunburn, reduce insect infestations, and keep body temperature under control. In a world where heat can be merciless, this simple ritual can be the line between comfort and suffering. Another essential alliance comes from above. Birds like the oxpecker, which land on its back and warn of danger with sharp calls. This partnership turns the rhinoceros into a living radar, blending brute strength with shared vigilance. But above all, the rhinoceros is a master of persistence. It crosses great distances to find water, defends its space with determination, and even alone maintains a posture few dare to challenge. It's not just muscle, it's strategy, adaptation, survival, built across millions of years. And while this solitary fortress advances across the savannah, other lives depend not on strength, but on speed, cleverness, and instant reading of danger. And among these relentless survivors appears a master of improvisation, fast, agile, and always alert to the slightest movement in the grass, the warthog. The warthog, despite its almost comical look, curved tusks and short legs, is one of the most efficient survivors in the savannah. It doesn't dominate through strength, nor through elegance. It survives because it turned agility, cunning, and fast danger reading into tools as sharp as blades. On a continent where any shadow can hide a predator, the warthog made anticipation its most powerful weapon. Running away isn't cowardice, it's strategy. And few creatures do it with such mastery as the African warthog. With eyes positioned high on its head and a body always ready to react, it can spot threats long before they close in. Its runs, surprisingly fast, follow an almost chaotic pattern. Sudden bursts, sharp turns, calculated zigzags, everything designed to confuse even the most experienced predators. And when escape isn't enough, it turns to one of its most ingenious specialties, using burrows. But these aren't ordinary burrows. They are underground fortresses dug by other animals, especially porcupines and aardvarks. The warthog doesn't waste time digging. It simply takes over someone else's construction, turning the underground into its ultimate refuge. And it always enters backward, tusks facing outward, a clear message that if anything insists, it will get hurt. In daily life, its peculiar behavior becomes another strategy. To feed, it drops to its front knees, reducing its silhouette and blending into vegetation. When it has piglets, it forms small caravans that move in sync, always close to burrows to guarantee an escape route. The warthog also masters the art of adapting to climate. It's a born opportunist. It eats what it finds, shifts region when needed, and takes advantage of the first rains to recover strength. And although it may look fragile, it thrives precisely because it's unpredictable. It never reacts the same way, never runs in the same direction, never makes life easy for anything trying to hunt it. In the African savannah, where raw power isn't enough and a single second can decide fate, the warthog proves that survival is also built on instinctive intelligence. And while this small strategist vanishes into tall grass, another master of survival emerges, not through speed, but through razor-sharp vision and the ability to read the savannah like no one else. With long strides and giant eyes that reflect the world, long before any threat appears, it's time for the ostrich. The ostrich rules the savannah like a colossal sentinel, an animal that doesn't rely on claws, fangs, or venom, but on vision, speed, and strategy. It embodies the idea that in brutal Africa, surviving doesn't mean attacking, it means anticipating. On a continent where predators blend into dust and strike with precision, the ostrich has an advantage no other animal can match. Eyes larger than those of any terrestrial mammal. Each eyeball is a massive window that scans the savannah for more than 3 kilometers. Before a lioness sees a target, before a cheetah prepares the rush, before danger exists for any other animal, the ostrich has already identified the threat. That early perception turns the ostrich into a living radar of the savannah. Many times they end up saving other herbivores, involuntarily warning antelopes, zebras, and wildebeest simply through their restless behavior. If the ostrich lifts its head suddenly, someone runs. They know why. But vision isn't everything. When the predator insists, when distance closes and dust fills the air, the ostrich reveals its final weapon, speed. With extremely long legs and elastic muscles, it can reach over 70 kilometers per hour, making it the fastest of all two-legged animals. Its strides are so long they can exceed 5 meters, turning escape into art. And if cornered, which is rare, the ostrich doesn't hesitate. Its kicks are strong enough to break bones, and its claws can open deep wounds. It's a strike few predators are willing to test. But the ostrich knows fighting is always the last option. For it, survival means mastering the landscape and disappearing before chaos begins. Another impressive strategy is its resistance to heat. It regulates body temperature with precision, enduring temperatures that would make many other animals collapse. Its seemingly messy plumage functions like a natural ventilation system. Perfect for the savannah on its harshest days. But not all survival depends on sharp eyes or explosive speed. Some rely on elegance, camouflage, and the ability to vanish into vegetation. Escaping danger without having to run for kilometers. And among the specialists in silent escape are some of the savannah's most iconic herbivores, the antelopes. Savannah antelopes represent one of the greatest triumphs of African adaptation. They are not the strongest nor the fastest in a straight line, but they are, without a doubt, among the most refined strategists on the continent. Each species, from the imposing sable antelope to the elegant kudu to the resilient oryx, developed a unique set of skills that allows it to live in a land where life is always hanging by a thread. The sable antelope is perhaps the most majestic portrait of this lineage. With long, curved horns, it looks designed to intimidate. And in a way, it is. Though it is prey, the sable is a dangerous opponent when cornered, capable of defending itself against predators that a herbivore would normally never confront. But its true strategy is not brute strength. It is collective intelligence. Living in cohesive groups, sables choose carefully where to remain. They prefer open areas where the horizon is clear and any predator can be seen early. There, their synchronized movements confuse even experienced hunters. It's not just an antelope. It's an open field strategist, always alert and always prepared. While the sable dominates with presence, the kudu uses the art of invisibility. Its vertical stripes may look like simple details, but they act as a visual shield, breaking up the outline of the body and allowing it to disappear among dry branches and greyish shrubs. Standing still, a kudu is almost impossible to notice, even from just a few meters away. And when it chooses to move, it does so with the softness of a shadow sliding through the brush. Its huge ears catch sounds too subtle for others, and its powerful leaps launch it away from danger in seconds. Unlike animals that bolt at the first sign of threat, the kudu watches, listens, evaluates, and only then acts. It survives because it masters silence. The oryx, in turn, is the survivor of extremes. Living where savanna fades into desert, it endures temperatures that would overwhelm many other herbivores. Its body functions like an advanced adaptation system. It can raise its own internal temperature to avoid overheating, preserving water and energy when it matters most. This strategy is so efficient, it allows the oryx to cross drought-devastated areas where almost nothing grows and life seems impossible. Its long, straight horns complement that resilience, serving as defense when danger is unavoidable. But the oryx's secret isn't fighting, it's economy. It manages its energy precisely, runs only when necessary, and knows exactly where to find plants capable of storing water. Each of these antelopes, in its own way, masters a vital skill of the savannah. The sable commands respect, the kudu vanishes like a ghost, and the oryx defies the heat that shapes brutal Africa. Together they represent the quiet sophistication of survival. Strategies that don't depend on fangs, claws, or extreme speed, but on adaptation, reading the environment, and making the perfect choice at the perfect moment. But while these herbivores conquer the savannah with elegance and discretion, there is a small people that thrives through unity, discipline, and constant vigilance. A society where every member has a function, and where life depends on never lowering the guard. Now, we enter the ingenious world of the meerkats. Meerkats are the purest definition of this truth. In the African savannah, size does not determine strength. Strategy does. They live in one of the harshest environments on the continent, where predators come from everywhere, from the sky, the ground, and even from beneath it. And yet, they thrive. Not because they're fast, strong, or intimidating, but because they turn social organization into their greatest weapon. Each morning in the savannah, when the sun is still fighting off the night's cold, meerkats emerge from their burrows like a disciplined little army. They don't rise to explore, they rise to assess. Before they even begin searching for food, they establish what makes them one of the most ingenious groups in all of Africa. The sentinel system. While some rummage through the soil for insects and small invertebrates, others climb to higher points, mounds, fallen logs, rocks, and take a lookout stance. Upright posture, still body, eyes locked on the horizon. At the slightest sign of risk, the shadow of an eagle or the slow movement of a jackal, the sentinel releases a warning call. It's not just an alert, it's an order to survive. In a fraction of a second, the entire group disappears into the burrow, as if the ground swallowed an entire family. This near-military cooperation is so efficient, it allows meerkats to live in areas where other small mammals would never dare to settle. And as if that weren't enough, they also developed a remarkable tolerance to certain venoms. A trait that lets them face dangerous prey like scorpions without paying the price most animals would pay. Their underground life is also essential to their strategy. Their burrow systems are complex with long tunnels, resting chambers, nursery rooms, and interconnected escape routes. Every detail exists to reduce risk and increase survival odds. Especially on days of extreme heat or nights when predators roam silently. But perhaps the most striking trait of meerkats is how they care for one another. When pups are born, the entire community mobilizes. Some adults become babysitters, others go out to forage, and the sentinels double their vigilance. It is a way of life where the group matters more than the individual, and that unity is their strongest shield. Meerkats are small, fragile, and vulnerable, but they conquered the savannah because they chose never to face it alone. And while this meticulous people vanish underground at the slightest sign of danger, another giant rises above all, using not brute strength, but height as a watchtower. Now we follow the one who sees the world from above, the natural lookout of wild Africa, the giraffe. Under the golden light that rules the savannah, the giraffe stands like a living lighthouse, a silent tower that watches everything long before any other animal even suspects what's coming. In the kingdom of prey, where anticipating danger is as essential as finding water, the giraffe stands out not only for its size, but for the perfect strategy that size provides. At over 5 meters tall, the giraffe sees chaos before it happens. Its long neck functions like a natural radar, allowing it to spot predators from kilometers away. And this constant vigilance doesn't protect only the giraffe. It protects the entire ecosystem around it. When a giraffe suddenly raises its head, other herbivores immediately understand something is wrong. But the giraffe is not just watchful eyes. Its body, which seems light and graceful, hides absolutely extraordinary adaptations. To pump blood to the brain, it relies on a huge and incredibly powerful heart, an engine capable of sustaining extremely high blood pressure without damage. And its long legs make it an efficient runner, able to reach surprising speeds when danger draws near. And when fleeing isn't an option, the giraffe reveals a weapon few imagine, one of the most powerful kicks in the animal kingdom. A single blow can kill or drive off even an adult lion. It is the strategy of last resort, silent but devastating. Its feeding is also a sophisticated form of survival. With a dark, tough tongue, it reaches leaves other herbivores could never eat, like those of thorny acacia trees. That selective diet ensures that even in times of scarcity, the giraffe can still find food where others find nothing. And still, despite its strength, height, and visual advantage, the giraffe lives in constant vulnerability. Calves are easy targets for predators, and even adults must watch their footing, because falls can be fatal. The giraffe survives because it learned to live between extremes: strength and fragility, reach and exposure, advantage and risk. In the African savannah, its presence is a symbol of balance. It sees what others don't see, reaches what others can't reach, and faces what many wouldn't dare face. By the end of this journey across the African savannah, we realize that survival here is far more than confronting predators or escaping threats. It is understanding the land, reading the wind, anticipating danger, and adapting to nature's relentless cycles. Every animal in this documentary carries its own strategy, refined across millions of years in one of the most challenging environments on Earth. The savannah is harsh, unpredictable, and in many moments brutal. But it is also a stage of ingenuity, endurance, and balance. Here, every creature found a unique way to exist, turning vulnerability into strength, silence into advantage, and fragility into wisdom. And when we look at this vast world, we realize that Africa's true greatness is not only in its legendary predators, but in the prey that, with creativity and instinct, learns every day how to live on the edge of survival. Because in the end, the savannah doesn't reward the strongest, it rewards the most adaptable.